According to Shack, Western governments and large corporations are also hesitant to alter drug policies because of the so-called narco-carceral complex, an industry that is uniquely positioned to profit from the drug war and is financially self-interested in the perpetuation of this war. Oil, pharmaceutical, law enforcement, lumber, alcohol, homeland and private security, agricultural, and other industries rely on drug prohibition to continue their market reigns. These wealthy, powerful interests are able to sway the opinions of elected officials with money and threats of failure. According to Blumenson and Nielsen, this bureaucratic stake is financial, deriving from the lucrative rewards available to police and prosecutorial agencies that make drug law enforcement their highest priority. It operates invisibly, obscured by moral and policy rationales. Drug agents and police seize drug assets like money, drugs, and weapons from grow operations and use the funds to fulfill budgetary needs. This has led to high financing unheard of in other forms of law enforcement and unaccountable agencies detached from meaningful legislative oversight. While a minority of people are anti-cannabis, many who are tend to be very vocal and have political or financial power.
But for some industries, the war on drugs is a profitable business. As the battle to crack down on minor drug offenses rages on, some companies are cashing in and getting rich. And it's these companies that pump enormous amounts of money into lobbying Congress so that drug policies continue to work in their favor. So who's benefiting? Contractors. The government spent over $6 billion on private contractors between 2005 and 2009. But that's not all. The drug testing industry is another one that's cashing in. The alcohol industry, private prisons, and drug rehabs are all reeling in the dough over the war on drugs. So who is really benefiting from the war on drugs, and will the U.S. change its failed policies?
So at the top, it's going to enforcement efforts. So, police budgets, municipal, state police budgets, federal police budgets. The DEA, for instance, has 10,000 employees, offices in over 60 countries. And then as it sort of trickles down, as you see the web spread, I mean, it goes everywhere. It goes to rehabilitation facilities, which are increasingly becoming an alternative to incarceration. And they're not an alternative because by chance or by luck, they're an alternative to incarceration because addiction treatment facilities are saying, make us an alternative to incarceration. The drug testing industry, again, because you're not allowed to have marijuana in your system at all, and it can interfere with like workers' compensation benefits if somebody's injured on the job and they've had marijuana in their system. So these companies spring up to develop technology to test for drugs. And then you can look at obviously the alcohol industry, the private prison industry. It goes out though. There's more. Their trial lawyers enjoy this sort of the benefits of this. Tobacco companies do, and then military and defense contractors. So it's really everybody's getting in on it.
Police officials are increasingly ignoring violent crimes, and they are using all of their resources to arrest and prosecute people who have possession of marijuana. And there are significant incentives to do so. So the first thing is that they get federal anti-drug grants, okay? And the way a police department is able to get those grants is if they can show that they have made a significant amount of arrests for marijuana and drug possession. All right, and this is a competitive thing. It's not like all police departments get it. You get this grant if you can show that you have arrested enough people. They can do something known as asset forfeiture. Okay, so for example, police can legally seize property from people merely suspected of drug crimes, and they can basically get a hold of the cash, and that cash goes back to the police department. It doesn't go back to the person who is arrested. When it comes to non-cash property, it's auctioned off, and that money goes back to the police department.
According to Jack Herrera, fears of hemp retaking its status as the largest cash crop, which is used in the production of rope, clothing, food, oil, and more, aided in cannabis's unnecessary prohibition.